Hello my friends and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm showing my face because we are living very difficult days, the whole world, and I thought that today I will be reviewing a paint watercolor set from Ukraine. My heart is in Ukraine right now, like most people. I'm Italian, but I feel so close to Ukraine right now, and I hope that peace in the world will prevail. So let's swatch together this paint from Ukraine. I thought that it was a good day to do so. Hello, I'm Elisabetta, a watercolor artist from Italy. I'm fond of art supplies and I like to invest in new paint and new supplies when I see discounts, coupons and special offers. So I like to swatch my paint for you so that you know what you are buying before you make a purchase. Stick with the video so we find out what these Rosa Gallery watercolor paint are. Before we start swatching this paint from Ukraine, Rosa Gallery, I remind you that if you are interested in my videos, in my reviews, and you appreciate my videos, don't forget, don't hesitate to give me a thumb up, a like, and to subscribe so that you won't miss any of the future videos that I upload. Hello friends, let's unbox this beautiful box of watercolor paint by Rosa Gallery. This is how the box arrived. I bought it on Amazon. There is some cardboard here, it's glued, I can't take it off. But what does it say? Let's see the information. It says on the front, there is a paper sleeve that says 100% gamma arabic, high quality pigments, natural drying. I think it's poured and not extruded like most of Western pigments. This is more like, I think, the White Nights, which is the Russian, ironically, the Russian brand that I use a lot, by the way. It's produced in Ukraine, you see, and it's developed in collaboration with professional artists. It's 28 pounds. It's a number that I have never seen in a set, so it's usually either 24 or 36 or 48, but never 28. Here there is all the information about the colors that are inside, and there are all the needed information. So I think I will keep this sleeve. There is the opacity, the light fastness on a 3 stars scale. There are 2 initials, N based on natural pigments, or G granulation effect. And then there is a bit of the story of the Rosa Gallery. I've heard that Rosa Gallery are people that used to work for White Nights. Actually, there are quite a few similarities between the two brands. And then here we have the Facebook page and the Instagram page. I bought this on Amazon and I think it arrived from through Germany. Took a while, but I was really curious to try this brand. We open it and it says it's the motto of the brand, creativity inspires. Rosa, Ukrainian manufacturer of fine art materials. We're all with Ukraine right now, so I'm very happy that I'm opening today the 6th day of the Russian-Ukraine war. I'm very happy to open this Ukrainian product. The box is a classic blue tin This is, I think, it's in German. It's Crevo. It's a shop on Amazon where I bought it from, Crevo. And here we have the 28 palette. They might not be exactly full pans. They look somewhat smaller. When we open them, we will compare them with the Winsor & Newton or White Knight's full pan. So it's 4 rows of 7 pans. And each pan has some information. It's wrapped in a single layer. It's glued, which is great because it makes unwrapping very easy, and you can keep the label with all the information because you can glue it on the other side. So the information here, you have cadmium lemon, the code number, commercial code number, the light fastness, the opacity, and the pigment used. For instance, it's cadmium yellow PY35, and then you have a barcode. Okay, let's unwrap them and put them in order. Let's compare the size of these pans to standard Western full pans. This is Winsor & Newton Pearl Maroon. So I would say that it's somewhat shorter, and thickness, they have the same thickness, but it's about 4/5 smaller, and it's slightly larger actually, but I think there is less content here than here. And also, you see, being extruded, this has a curve on top and this is flat. So this is slightly smaller than a standard full pan. Still is much larger than a single half pan. The first thing that I notice is that there is a difference between the content of the box and the sleeve. I mean that there is one color missing, which is unfortunately cobalt turquoise, which is a lovely color usually. But there is one extra color, which is also a very nice surprise, which is English red. So English red was not in this list. So they have put English red and taken away cobalt turquoise. Let's start swatching. Unwrapping was not so easy. So it's not perfectly unwrapped, but let's start swatching. I am not reactivating because the pans are very sticky, and I have this impression that it will re-wet very, very easily. So this is cadmium lemon. I have put black line so that I can verify opacity. It is obviously quite opaque because it's a cadmium color, but it has a wonderful flow on paper, really wonderful. It's amongst the best flows on paper that I have met so far, especially for a cadmium color. Fortunately, it bled, so I might jump to cadmium deep and let this dry. Cadmium deep is PY35, which is cadmium yellow with the addition of PO20. PO20 is cadmium orange, and it's a lovely orangey yellow, very warm. Also an incredible flow on paper. I will add the darker tone here. Let's go back to the cadmium light. It's a very bright yellow. This is going to be a beautiful yellow to mix. But what hits me is the flow on paper. I will try the next one without pre-wetting the paper. The next one is golden yellow, and it's a PY 110, which is yes, used usually as Indian yellow, and it's a rich, deep orangey yellow. Look at this. Incredible flow on paper, even without pre-wetting the paper. So from now on, I will not pre-wet this paper. It's very transparent as well. Let's move to cadmium orange. Cadmium orange has the same formula of cadmium yellow deep, but with inverted values. When you find multiple pigments in watercolor, it's like in food. When you in food find the ingredient list, you start with the most important component. So this is the same formula of cadmium yellow deep, but it has orange first and then yellow. You see, this is PO20 and then PY35, and here is the other way around. So it's first PY35 and then PO20. Now cadmium red light is two pigments also. It's PR108. Wow, this is so vibrant, and the flow on paper is incredible. It's PR108 cadmium red plus cadmium orange, PO20. It's so easy to water down. It's an incredible quality. I have never seen such a lovely flow on paper. Then we go to cadmium red, pure cadmium red, PR108. And it's a darker version. So it's also very, very easy to re-wet this paint. Nothing to say. Let's go to the second row. We have carmine, which is a cooler red. Now I see that new watercolor sets don't usually include alizarin crimson, because it's very controversial, alizarin crimson, because they say it's fugitive. So we need to find a replacement for alizarin crimson. I started to paint with a small Cotman set that had alizarin crimson, and I used it a lot in my mixes to mute down greens or to make purples. This is Mother Red. It's PR 177 and PR 264, and this could be, for instance, a nice replacement for alizarin crimson. By the way, all these colors, almost all of them, are very light fast. This Mother Red, let me check, has a light fastness of 3 stars, so very high. Let's go to violet. Violet is as expected. It's dioxazine violet, PV 23. And usually it's very dark. Yes, it is. It's a very dark, intense violet. There is not much difference between different brands. And it's a beautiful, deep, velvety violet, PV 23. Now we move to olive green. Olive green is made with 3 pigments. Greens, convenience greens, often are made of different pigments to mute them down so that you can use them straight from the pan. And it's a lovely, it's very nice muted green. It's made with chromium green oxide, PG 17, a yellow that I've never seen before, which is PY1, and some black to mute it down. So green, yellow and black to mute it down, and the effect is really nice. You can use it as it is, no need to mute it. Then we have a very unusual color, which is this green, and it is PG8. The only other brand where I've seen this PG8, it's a sort of a hooker's green, but PG8 I've only seen used by white knights. I have never seen this pigment in other commercial greens. It is very beautiful. It's also beautiful, the one from white knights, but it has a problem. It's a fugitive. So if you want to sell your works, maybe you don't use it, but if you just sketch in a sketchbook, you can use this lovely green. Then we have PG7, emerald green, which is phthalo green, not good to be confused with the viridian. Viridian is not as strong as phthalo green, and there is no viridian, I would say, in this set, but they look very much the same, so you can replace viridian with this emerald green. Emerald green has I use it 2 ways, either for tropical sea, mix with the turquoise, or mix with the red to mute it down to get some muted greens. It's a mixing green for me. I very rarely use it straight from the palette. Then we have turquoise, which is not cobalt turquoise, so it's going to be phthalo shade. Actually, it's almost a primary blue, a cyan. It's PB 15 semi-column 3, which is the green shade of phthalo blue, and PG7, which is green, phthalo green. And beside the incredible flow on paper that really amazes me, it's a beautiful turquoise. So far, I'm really amazed. Let's go to the blues. Cobalt blue. Cobalt blue is a color that varies a lot from brand to brand. The first cobalt blue I used was from Sennelier, and I didn't like it at all because it was very opaque. This cobalt blue is semi-opaque, and it would make a lovely winter sky, I think. And also the flow on paper is beautiful. Also nice for mixes, but for sky, for winter sky, this would be great. Blue. So it's probably what they would call a primary blue, and it is phthalo blue, PB15. Yes, it's a phthalo blue. It's probably more on the neutral or red side, so it could be a PB15-1. So lovely mixing blue, and also lovely for sea, for instance. Tropical sea mixed with emerald, with turquoise. Then we have our PB29 ultramarine. It's obviously PB29. It should be a granulating color. So far, I have not met any granulating paint. Although on cadmium reds I had some G labels, so it was meant to be granulating, but I have seen no granulation at all, I must say. Maybe when it dries, but so far these colors are very little granulating. Even the ultramarine, I don't see it very granulating. I put some more. Yes, I can see some granulation now, but not as much as in other brands. Then I have a color that it's quite unusual in standard watercolor sets. It's a dark blue. It's blue indanthrone, that they call blue indanthrone, and it's a velvety blue. There is no Prussian blue in this set, but there is this dark blue, which is really nice. This could be used for winter lakes. Imagine when the sky is gray, water can turn this dark blue. Indigo. Wow, this is really dark. It's done with the phthalo blue, PV19, which is cobalt violet. Sorry, which is quinacridone violet, and black. It goes from dark to light suddenly, but it's a very, very dark indigo, dark blue. Let's see how it dries. Then we have a yellow ochre. Here also the formula is quite unusual because it's a mixture of two pigments. Is PY43, which is the natural yellow ochre. And then we have PY42, which is Mars yellow, the synthetic yellow ochre. And I don't know why they have made this choice, but the result is not so opaque as other yellow ochres are. For instance, the White Nights is more opaque, I think, and the Winsor & Newton is more opaque. But this is, looks more transparent. Maybe it's the PY42. Then we have Raw Sienna, which is one of my favorite colors, but it depends on the brand. Let's see this one. This is PBR7, which is brown iron oxide. Usually burnt sienna is made with this pigment. And yellow ochre, the synthetic one, PY42. So it's in this case, it's not as golden as I wished. It's a bit duller. Maybe it's not my favorite raw sienna that I've seen in my life. And also usually raw sienna is very transparent. This is not so transparent because there is yellow ochre inside. Then we have the nice surprise, one of my favorite colors, which is English red. English red is made with the PR101, which is this red iron oxide pigment, and it gives very different paint according to the treatment. In this case, should be opaque. Let's put some more. And it's a lovely mixing color. And it's also very granulating. So this is our English red. It's a great brick red, very useful in landscape. Then we have Mars Brown. Mars Brown is a brown made with a synthetic pigment, which is PY42, yellow ochre. And then again, the PR101, the same as English red, and some black. I usually like Mars Brown very much, and it is a yellowish brown. I use this very much, for instance, for wood. It can be very nice to give some color variation. It's a very nice brown. Then we have burnt sienna. Here also it's a different choice from most brands. Most brands would make their burnt sienna with PBR7, but not. Here they made this very orangey burnt sienna with PR101, but it is transparent, one of the transparent paints that you can get with, that you can achieve with PR101. And it's not bad at all. It's granulating. I put some more. Orangey, burnt sienna. But imagine mixing this with some yellow. You can obtain something very close to quinacridone gold, for instance. Then amber. Amber is PBR7, brown iron oxide. It's not a color that I use very much. It's a very weak color usually. In this case also for faraway landscapes. Yes, for the backgrounds. It's a transparent color. I haven't figured out how to use it very much in my sketches. But, okay. Then we have sepia. Sepia is one of my favorite colors. My favorite is from Sennelier, which is warm sepia. But let's see how this is. This is very dark and also warm and with an incredible flow. Look at this. Slightly granulating. PBR7, so brown iron oxide, black, and PR177, red. Let's go to Payne's Gray. Some Payne's Gray are more bluish, some are more grayish. Let's see how this is. It's very dark Payne's Gray, as it should be, because you can use it in shadow. Very easy to water down with a bluish undertone. That's perfect Payne's Gray. And then we got neutral black, which is my favorite form. Can you hear my dog in the background? my favorite form of black because it's less dirty than other types of black, and it's made with phthalo blue, black and red. So it's a mixture of some primary colors plus black. Okay, I will give you my first impression now that it is dry. Let's start with the very good things. First of all, it's the value for money. I will put in the notes the exact price I paid for this, but that's really bargain. You get 28 full pans, although they're somewhat smaller than full pans that we usually have, but you get for sure artist grade paint with very vibrant colors at a very good price. I paid for this tin box with 28 pounds, less than 40 euros. I was so happy about the price point that I also bought this cardboard box. It's only 24 pounds, but the price was really attractive. So if I run out of some colors here or in my main palette, I can replace with this cardboard box. The colors are very, very vibrant. Cadmiums are obviously slightly opaque, but they're all very transparent. Then the formulation. Not all of them are single pigments. There are 14 out of 28 pans, which is half, are multi-pigment. The other half is single pigments. Now, I'm not orthodox about single pigments. Some multi-pigments can work very well, especially if they are contiguous. Let's say that, for instance, if you use yellow and orange, cadmium yellow and cadmium orange, like here, the cadmium yellow dip, you can mix them without fear. But if you start to put a lot of black, like in olive green or indigo or sepia or the Mars brown, then it becomes slightly more difficult to mix them. For instance, Mars brown has some red, has some yellow, and if you mix it with green, for instance, the risk is that it becomes slightly muddy. But I have to try it before I say it becomes muddy, because it's so transparent, maybe it doesn't. It has a tendency to make some cauliflowers. I don't really mind, because it makes watercolor alive. Cauliflowers are part of watercolor, so I'm not an enemy of cauliflowers, but there are some. If you don't like them, maybe you don't want this paint. The main amazing feature is the water flow. They just explode on paper as soon as they touch it, not to mention when there is water on paper. So it's really an amazing quality. If you like to work wet on wet, this paint is gonna amaze you. And I can't wait to try it on a real painting to see this effect. I've heard that Core has the same qualities, but I have never tried Core paints because they're not easy to find in Italy. One last thing, which is maybe on the negative side, is that it is a bit unbalanced. It's only 3 greens out of 28, and you have 5 yellows, 4 reds, violet, then you have 3 greens, and then plenty of blues. Earthy colors are okay, they good, and then Payne's green, neutral black. I would have probably put some sap green, some convenience green more, and taken away maybe the blue indifferent, which is lovely but not a must-have. Also, what I really miss in this set is burnt umber. Burnt umber is a brown that is absolutely a must-have in a watercolor set. Even if a 12 paint set, you find a burnt umber. So lack of a burnt umber in a 28 set is really a pity, because there is not a strong brown. Sepia is too dark, it's a sepia, is different, and Mars brown is a bit weak compared to burnt umber. Burnt umber is also necessary to make grays with blue, so I use it a lot in shadows. But overall, I think I'm going to use this set a lot. And also I like the fact that it's made in Ukraine, which is a suffering country in this moment. And I'm happy I have bought 2 boxes of this paint, and we'll be back with a demo. I can't wait to use it and see what I can do with this incredibly glowing and flowing paint. Thank you very much for having stayed with me, and I'll see you in the next video. Ciao from Italy.